I didn't know that walking into a doctor's office could change my entire life. I thought I was going there to fix something broken inside me. But what I found was a woman who saw through every wall I'd ever built, and the moment our eyes met, I knew I was in trouble. This is the story of how a simple appointment became the most dangerous, beautiful obsession I've ever known. I didn't go to the doctor expecting anything unusual. I just thought something was wrong with me, that I was broken somehow. For almost 3 weeks straight, I'd been craving touch. Not just wanting it, but painfully, distractingly craving it every single day, every single night. It didn't matter where I was or what I was doing. At work, I'd lose focus mid-email, my mind wandering to places it had no business going during office hours. At home, I'd find myself touching my own skin like it belonged to someone else, searching for relief that never came. Even walking down the street, a random breeze against my thighs would make me clench my legs together and exhale like I was about to fall apart right there on the sidewalk. At first, I laughed it off. I mean, who complains about being too turned on, right? But it didn't stop. It got worse. I tried everything I could think of. Long showers where I'd stand under the water until it ran cold. Short showers where I'd rush through, trying not to think. Cold drinks. Breathing exercises I found on some wellness app. Nothing helped. My body felt like it was stuck in this endless loop of wanting, aching, and never really getting enough. So one morning, after waking up from another dream that left me soaked in need and frustration, I did something I never thought I'd do. I booked a doctor's appointment, and I told them the truth. Sort of. I told the receptionist I was feeling off, that I had some ongoing discomfort, and that I wanted a female doctor if possible. I didn't say, "Hi, I think my body is trying to consume the entire universe. Please help me." But I was close. The appointment was later that week. I took the afternoon off, told my boss I had a medical thing, and showed up 10 minutes early, nervous as hell. I wore loose jeans, a hoodie, no makeup. I didn't want to look cute. I didn't want anyone to think I was trying to flirt or attract attention. I just wanted help. But when the door opened and I saw her, my doctor, I forgot how to breathe. She was tall, really tall. Long, dark hair tied back in a low ponytail, a white coat that somehow made her look more dangerous than safe, and eyes that saw everything the second they landed on you. She wasn't smiling. She didn't need to. She just nodded at me once and said, "Come in." Her voice was low, calm, and kind of firm. It was the kind of voice that made you sit up straighter without even realizing it. I followed her into the room and sat on the examination table while she clicked something on her computer. She didn't look at me right away, but when she did, just for a second, I felt my entire body clench. I was screwed. She introduced herself, Dr. Martinez, and asked me what was going on. I froze. My mouth opened, but no words came out. My brain was already imagining her fingers on me, her mouth on my neck, her complete and total focus directed at me and only me. I cleared my throat. "I've just been kind of, overwhelmed. Physically. A lot of tension. Constantly." She nodded like this was the most normal thing she'd heard all day. "What kind of tension?" she asked. "Pain? Pressure? Arousal?" God, that word. Arousal. The way she said it, clinical but not cold. Like she knew what it meant. Not just medically, but personally. I swallowed hard. "Arousal," I whispered. "Like, a lot." She nodded again. Calm. Professional. Her fingers moved smoothly across the keyboard. "And how long has this been happening?" "Almost 3 weeks." She tilted her head slightly, studying me. "And is there a pattern to it? Does anything trigger it?" "Everything," I said, too fast. "Nothing. It just happens." Her lips twitched at the corners. Just a little. Not a smile, but close. She stood up. "I'd like to do a basic physical exam, just to rule some things out. Is that okay?" "Okay," I said, trying to sound normal, trying not to let her hear the second heartbeat pulsing between my legs. She asked me to lie back on the table. My heart was racing. I couldn't believe how soft her hands were. Every place she touched my neck, my stomach, my wrist, sent little sparks shooting through me. She moved with confidence. No hesitation, no rush. And I was losing my mind. Every time her fingers brushed over my skin, I had to bite my lip to keep from gasping. She asked about my sleep, my diet, my love life. I gave short answers. I didn't want to lie, but I didn't want to say the truth either. The truth was that I hadn't been with anyone in over a year. The truth was that I was lying on this table, imagining what her hands would feel like if they moved just a little lower. Eventually, she stepped back and said, "Physically, everything seems fine, but I'd like to see you again. This could be stress-related, possibly neurological, or emotional. We'll take it step by step." I nodded, but my mind was stuck on the word emotional, because that was the thing, wasn't it? It wasn't just physical. It was something deeper, something I didn't know how to name yet. I left that day with a follow-up appointment scheduled and her voice echoing in my ears. She'd said, "Don't worry, we'll figure it out." But I already knew something had changed. I hadn't just met a doctor. I'd met someone who could undo me with nothing but a glance. The days after that first appointment were torture. Not because of the constant arousal I was feeling. That was still there, sure. But now it had a face, a voice, a body. Now, every time I felt that familiar ache building, it was her I pictured, her voice asking, "What kind of tension?" Her fingers, soft and firm, moving over my skin like she knew exactly what she was doing. I tried to forget her. I really did. But I couldn't. I thought about canceling the next appointment. I thought maybe this was a mistake, that maybe I was just obsessed, that maybe I needed to see someone else, someone older, someone less attractive, someone who didn't make my entire body hum just by existing in the same room. But something deeper told me to go back, not just because I was turned on all the time, but because for the first time, someone made me feel like I wasn't crazy for it. When I returned the following week, she greeted me the same way, calm, polite, direct. No smile, no flirting. But her eyes still lingered just a second too long. This time, the appointment was different. She didn't do another full physical exam. She sat across from me, crossed her legs slowly, and asked if I'd be okay talking more about what I'd been feeling. I nodded. So I started talking. I told her I wasn't in a relationship. I hadn't been with anyone in a while. I didn't watch adult films often. I didn't even think about intimacy all the time. Not until now. "It's like my body is craving something," I said, "and I don't even know what it is." She leaned forward slightly. "Do you feel safe when it happens? Or scared?" "Both," I admitted. She tilted her head again, studying me with those dark, steady eyes. Then she said something that made my stomach tighten. "Sometimes arousal isn't just about physical release. Sometimes it's about unmet needs, emotional, physical, intimate. The body speaks when the mind stays quiet." God! The way she said intimate made my breath catch. Her eyes were steady, but I swore there was something else behind them now. Something warm, watching, curious. I looked away. "I feel like I'm losing control." She leaned forward just a little more. "What if that's not a bad thing?" We sat in silence for a moment. Then she suggested we meet weekly. She said she wanted to help figure out if this was emotional buildup, hormonal imbalance, or something else entirely. I didn't care what the reason was. I just wanted to be near her again. That became our rhythm. Every week, I'd show up. She'd ask questions. I'd answer with flushed cheeks and a racing heart. We never touched again after that first exam. But the tension, it grew. Slowly, quietly, like something curling tighter under the surface, waiting to snap. Some weeks I wore something looser to hide how aroused I got just sitting across from her. Other weeks, I wore tight jeans just to feel a little more in control. I wasn't sure who I was trying to tease, myself or her. One day, maybe the third or fourth session, she asked a question that changed everything. "Do you feel more aroused after leaving our sessions?" I blinked at her. My mouth went dry. I wanted to lie. I really did. But my body betrayed me. My thighs clenched. My breath caught. "Yes," I whispered. She nodded. Calm. Clinical. But I saw it, the flicker in her eyes. That warmth again. That knowing. Then she said, That's helpful. We're getting closer. Closer to what? I didn't ask, but I thought about it all night. I touched myself after I got home, whispering her name without meaning to. I didn't even know her first name yet, and I wanted to scream it. The next session, I asked her a question for once. Do you always make your patients feel this exposed? She smiled, actually smiled, just barely. Not always, she said. Just the ones who want to be seen. My skin tingled. My breath hitched. I wanted her to see me. I wanted her to touch me. I wanted her to press me up against the wall and do whatever she wanted while whispering that she knew exactly what I needed. But she didn't do any of that. She stayed professional, calm, always just out of reach. And that made me want her more. But there was one session that changed everything. I walked into her office that day completely exhausted, and not the kind of exhausted you could sleep off. My skin felt too tight. My body felt hot in places that had no business being hot at 10 o'clock in the morning. And my head was spinning constantly with the same thought. I need release. I sat down and didn't wait for her usual warm-up questions. I can't take it anymore, I said. She looked up slowly, eyebrows raised like she already knew what was coming. I can't focus at work. I can't hold conversations. I'm snapping at people. I'm daydreaming about everything. And it's not even normal stuff. I paused, lowering my voice. It's raw, intense, constant. She was quiet, studying me with those dark eyes. Then she nodded slowly. You've been holding yourself back, she said. I have to, I said quickly. If I didn't, I'd be, God, I'd be in the office bathroom all day. She leaned back slightly in her chair, her expression calm, focused. But again, her eyes gave something away. Then maybe it's time to stop holding back, she said softly. I blinked at her. What? She crossed one leg over the other and spoke slowly, like she was choosing every word with care. Sometimes the pressure builds not because you're overindulging, but because you're denying yourself too much. Your body is begging for relief. And every time you suppress it, you're feeding the cycle. You're fighting a need that's not going to disappear on its own. I swallowed hard. What are you saying? She met my eyes. Calm, direct, slightly darker than before. I'm saying maybe you need to stop trying to stay in control. At least for now. When you feel aroused, let your body follow it. Touch yourself, as often as you need. Don't push it away. Ride it out. Let your body have the experience, instead of punishing it for asking. I think I forgot how to blink. I just stared at her, heat rising up my neck, my thighs squeezing together without me even thinking about it. And in the meantime, she added, her voice softer now, there's something that might help. She stood and walked to one of the drawers behind her desk. I couldn't see what she was doing. My mind raced with a dozen wild possibilities. When she turned back, she wasn't holding anything physical, but she did hand me a small brochure. Clean design, simple title, The Rose. My mouth went dry. She sat back down and said, it's a discreet, high-quality stimulator, compact, gentle. A lot of women find it helps with ongoing tension like yours. Controlled, private, effective. I didn't even know what to say. She wasn't joking. She wasn't embarrassed. She was dead serious. I can't prescribe you what your body's craving, she added, her voice almost too calm. But I can suggest tools to make it more manageable. I held the brochure with both hands like it might catch fire. And if I use it? I asked quietly. Like you said. Whenever I need to. She gave the tiniest nod. Exactly. Don't suppress. Let it happen. Let go. The words hit me deep. Let go. I hadn't done that in so long. Not really. When I left her office that day, I didn't even make it home before ordering the rose online. One click, same-day delivery. And that night, I used it twice. No guilt, no shame, just heat, relief, and her voice in my head the whole time saying, let go. I started using it daily, sometimes multiple times, and each time, something changed. My mind got clearer. My body loosened. I still wanted her badly, but now the ache wasn't suffocating. It was electric, and it was building into something more. Something dangerous. Something close. By the time our next session came, I had memorized the sound of her heels in the hallway. I could tell it was her the moment she entered the building. And when I sat in her office again, I was calmer. Not completely God, no, but I wasn't vibrating with need the way I used to. Because now I had the rose. But the calm didn't last long. She sat across from me like always, legs crossed, hands on her lap, smooth, unreadable face. "How have things been?" she asked. I couldn't look at her right away. "Better," I said. She tilted her head just slightly. "Did you follow the advice?" I nodded. She smiled faintly. "And?" I took a deep breath. It helped. A lot. She leaned forward, elbows resting lightly on her knees. "Do you feel in control again?" I met her eyes. "No." That made her pause. "No?" she repeated. I shook my head. "I'm not thinking about sex all the time now, but I'm still thinking about you." There it was. The truth, dropped between us like a heavy stone. She didn't move. Her lips parted for just a second. Then she closed them, sat back, and exhaled slowly. "I see," she said carefully. I waited, watching, listening for anything: anger, rejection, maybe discomfort. But none of it came. Instead, she uncrossed her legs, shifted in her seat, and looked down at her lap. Her hands were still folded, but they were tighter now, tense. "You're not the first patient to develop feelings during treatment," she said softly. I interrupted. "This isn't just feelings." She looked up again. "This is hunger," I whispered. "And not just for sex, for you. For how you talk to me, look at me, make me feel seen. I walk into this office and I don't feel crazy. I feel understood." Her throat moved in a small swallow. I sat forward. "And I know you feel it too. I see it in you, even when you try to hide it. Every time you look at me too long. Every time you pause before speaking. Every time your voice dips a little too low." She closed her eyes for a second. Just one. And when she opened them, her gaze was sharp, steady. "You're right," she said. That shocked me more than anything. "You're right," she repeated, this time softer. "I feel it too, but I can't act on it. Not while you're still my patient." My heart was hammering so loud I could barely hear my own thoughts. "But if I wasn't?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. "If I wasn't your patient?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said it. Calm, low, steady. "Then I wouldn't be sitting across from you right now." A rush went through me so strong I had to clench the arms of the chair. She looked away quickly, like she regretted saying it. But the words were already out, and everything changed after that. The sessions were still clinical on the surface, but underneath, the tension was 10 times worse. Sometimes I thought about canceling just to get some space, but I couldn't stay away. I needed her. Not just her advice or her guidance, but her presence, her breath, her body, her skin against mine. And I think she needed me too. The way her eyes softened when I laughed, the way her fingers twitched when our hands accidentally brushed, the way her voice trembled just a little when I looked at her too long. We were playing with fire, and we both knew it. It happened the day I told her I was thinking of ending the sessions. Not because I was better, but because I couldn't take it anymore. The pull between us was too strong. Every week I left her office more desperate than I'd arrived. So that day, I sat down in the chair across from her and said it plain and clear. "I think this should be our last session." She didn't speak for a few seconds, just stared. Then she asked, "Why?" "You know why." Her lips pressed together. "I want to hear you say it." "Because I want you," I said, "not just in theory, not just in passing thoughts or dreams. I want your hands on me, your mouth, your weight on top of mine. And I can't pretend this is still professional." Her breath caught, quiet, but I saw it. "I want to be clear," I continued. "I'm not asking you to break any rules. I'm ending this. Right now. No more sessions. After today, You're no longer my doctor. She stood up. I watched her walk slowly toward the door, and for a split second, I thought she was leaving. Instead, she locked it. That soft click of the door sent a shiver down my spine. She turned around, her expression unreadable. I shouldn't be doing this, she said. You have no idea how long I've fought it. I stood too, heat pulsing through my chest and down to the ache between my legs. You're not my doctor anymore. The silence was thick. And then she moved. One step, then two, and then she was in front of me, close enough that I could smell the soft perfume she always wore. She raised a hand slowly, brushing her fingers against my cheek, letting them linger just beneath my jaw. My skin burned under her touch. You drive me crazy, she whispered. I leaned into her palm. Then stop fighting it! And that was it. Her mouth was on mine, hungry, deep, desperate, like she'd been starving, and I was the first real meal in months. I grabbed her waist, pulled her closer. Her tongue slid into my mouth with ease, and I groaned against her lips. It was messy, raw, no holding back. Hands were everywhere. Her blazer dropped to the floor. My blouse came undone between kisses. She kissed down my neck, biting gently, pulling moans out of me like she already knew exactly where to touch. I fumbled with her shirt, eager, frantic. When I finally got it off, her skin was warm and smooth beneath my hands. She pushed me gently back onto the couch and climbed over me. Her eyes scanned my body, slow and burning, like she was memorizing every inch. I've wanted to do this since the first day you walked in, she murmured, her hand slipping under my waistband. I arched into her touch, gasping. No more holding back, I whispered. No, she said, her mouth near my ear. Not tonight. And she gave me everything. Her mouth, her hands, her heat. She touched me like a woman who'd waited too long. And I gave in like a woman who'd needed this all her life. That night, I didn't leave her office until after midnight. Hair messy, clothes wrinkled, skin flushed, but I had never felt so clear, so seen, so full. It wasn't just the intimacy. It was a need finally met, a craving finally answered, and the beginning of something neither of us could stop now. The next morning, I woke up in my bed, sore in the best way. My skin still tingled where she had touched me. My thighs still ached from how many times she made me reach the edge. I stared at the ceiling, playing everything back in my head like a private movie. Her breath against my ear. Her voice, low and shaky, telling me I was dangerous. The way she whispered my name just before she came, too. I hadn't planned to fall asleep in her arms last night, but I had. And I hadn't planned to wake up alone, but I did. There was no text from her, no message, just silence. At first, I told myself to be patient. She probably had clients, meetings, a full schedule, but by noon, I was checking my phone every 5 minutes. By 2 p.m., I had showered, gotten dressed, and gone out for coffee just to distract myself. By 5, I was pacing. The silence started to crawl under my skin like guilt, like maybe it shouldn't have happened. But then my phone buzzed. Her. Are you free tonight? Me. Yes. Come over. Not my office, my place. My heart jumped. I don't know why, but something about her inviting me into her personal space made everything feel different, more intimate, more real. That night, her apartment smelled like jasmine and red wine. She wore a loose sweater, no bra underneath, tight black leggings. Her hair was down, her eyes softer than I'd ever seen them. She didn't say much at first, just handed me a glass of wine and sat beside me on the couch. We sipped in silence, the air between us full of unspoken things. Finally, she turned to me. I didn't sleep, she said. Me neither, I admitted. She looked down at her wine. This feels dangerous. I leaned closer. It is, but it's already happening. So let's stop pretending it's not. This time, the kiss was slower, deeper, less frantic, more deliberate. Clothes came off in the hallway. She pressed me against the wall and kissed down my chest, her mouth so warm and slow it made me tremble. In her bedroom, everything felt like a dream. Her hands on me, my legs around her waist, her moans tangled with mine in the dark. And then, after her hand rested on my stomach, my head on her chest, quiet, peaceful, real. "Are you going to get addicted to me?" she teased softly, half a smile on her lips. I smiled back. "I already am." And I meant it. Because this wasn't just lust anymore. It was obsession. And I didn't want a cure. We started seeing each other almost every night after that. No more cold offices, no more professional distance. Just her place or mine. Doors locked, clothes gone, hands everywhere. It was like opening a dam. Everything I had held back for weeks, I poured into her. And she didn't hold back either. Every kiss was wetter. Every touch was rougher. Every time we fell into bed, it was like we couldn't get close enough. She brought out a side of me I didn't know existed. I used to be shy, careful, polite in bed. But with her, I got loud. I swore. I begged. I let her see me break. And she loved every second of it. One night, she pulled me onto her lap on her living room couch, kissed down my neck, and whispered, "I don't want to be gentle tonight." I almost lost it right then. "Then don't," I whispered, grinding against her thigh. She didn't. She turned me over, pressed me down, and took her time unraveling me completely. She pinned my wrists above my head and said, "You have no idea how badly I wanted this. Every week you came in, looking at me like you were starving, and I had to pretend I didn't want to devour you." I groaned her name so loudly I was sure her neighbors heard. But I didn't care. She'd unlocked something wild in me, and I didn't want to put it back in its cage. Later, when we lay tangled together on her rug, sweaty, shaking, and still out of breath, she brushed my hair back and looked into my eyes. "I think I'm falling for you," she said, like it scared her. I reached out and touched her cheek. "Then fall." She blinked, like she hadn't expected me to say that. But I wasn't going to play games. Not with her. This wasn't just about intimacy anymore. It never really was. It was about us. Something deep, raw, messy, real. And even though I knew we were crossing every line imaginable, I didn't care. Because I never wanted to stop. Not with her. Weeks passed. Then months. Our arrangement, whatever it was, grew into something deeper, messier, more intense. I stopped pretending it was casual. She stopped pretending she didn't care. We were in it. Fully. We had our routines now. Mornings where she kissed my forehead before I left for work. Nights where I cooked and she read on the couch in one of my oversized shirts. Quiet Sundays tangled in bedsheets that smelled like both of us. But under it all, there was a tension. A risk we hadn't dealt with. One night, I said it. "Do you ever worry it's going to fall apart?" She paused, tracing circles on my bare stomach. "Every day." "Then why are we still doing it?" Her eyes lifted to mine. "Because not doing it hurts more." We both knew the truth. What we had wasn't simple. She had left her professional world behind to be with me. Risked her name, her license, her reputation. And I had let someone reach into the deepest part of me, see me, want me, heal me, in a way no one ever had. It started with lust, with need, with frustration I couldn't explain. But in the end, it turned into something real. She didn't just cure my body. She cured the part of me that felt broken, unseen, untouched. And I didn't need sessions anymore. I needed her. So I stayed. Not because I was desperate anymore, but because I was in love. So that's my story. The story of how I went looking for a cure and found love instead. How I crossed every line I wasn't supposed to cross. How I let myself fall completely, recklessly, beautifully. If this story made you feel something, if it made your heart race or your breath catch, please leave a like and let me know in the comments. Did you see it coming? Would you have done the same thing? I love hearing your thoughts. And if you're craving more stories like this raw, emotional, real lesbian love stories that don't hold back, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's so much more coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me share this part of my heart with you. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, don't be afraid to let yourself fall.